Hi everyone, it's Paul Miller, the Free Time Free Spill podcast, and I'm with Laura P. Martin. She's a certified IBS nutrition consultant and founder of Healing to Happy, an online holistic gut brain focused program that helps women suffering from IBS and anxiety to heal using food. Welcome. Thanks. How you
Thank you.
doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Went to Planet Fitness, got a little workout in, like treadmill and like weights and stuff, like working on legs and arms. But like
Yeah.
I felt great after.
Right? Those endorphins.
Yeah, I spent like 20 minutes on the treadmill.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a little a workout before the podcast.
Nice. Get the brain flowing.
Yeah, seeing different things. Like there's like 16 TVs.
Yeah. Stimulated.
Yeah. So like, what you been working on lately?
Yeah, so I help people that are struggling with IBS and anxiety to heal using nutrition. So I focus on the whole gut brain connection, all that kind of stuff. So I've been doing a lot of work around that, doing research, all that kind of stuff. But I mainly do with one-on-one consulting. And then I have my online course, which is like a group program called Gut Recharge. So just working on those. They're like my little babies.
Yeah,
So I've been hanging out in there and doing all that kind of stuff.
that's great. What is IBS for those at home that don't know about this?
Yeah, so IBS is irritable bowel syndrome. So that's when you're having things like chronic bloating, chronic gas, chronic constipation, diarrhea, things like that. And just having really discomfort, the pain, the overwhelm, all that kind of stuff when your body is not feeling so hot. And you've kind of ruled out all the other symptoms that would have been like parasites or Crohn's or autoimmunities or things like that. You're left with, we don't really know what's wrong with you. Here's IBS.
So what helps with all this? Like
Yeah,
to keep
so
it healthy.
IBS is actually a gut brain dysregulation. So what I see often with people is they go the food route. So they'll start eliminating foods, they'll start demonizing like dairy, gluten, soy, eggs, all this kind of stuff. And they think that's what's wrong with them. But really, it has to do with the gut brain connection. So I help people understand that and help to down regulate the nervous system, just to calm everything down. And that's how we actually move away from the whole diet approach and get more into eating normally again.
Yeah. Like healthy foods.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you help with like nutrition drinks or anything?
Um, yeah, I mean, that could be a way that we go. I don't really do any supplementation or any of that kind of stuff. I focus on whole real foods and really kind of simplifying that whole process.
That's wonderful. And like what's some exercises do you also work with exercise like that people
No,
can
I
do?
don't do fitness. No, I don't do fitness. I do, I mean, like, I obviously recommend movement. Like, it's a big part of my personal life. And having my clients move their body because it does kickstart peristalsis, which is how you start to get blood flowing to your digestive system, and get things moving and getting those like muscles and organs, eliminating the toxins. So I do have clients exercise, but that is not something I know much about.
Yeah, that's a good tip about moving and stuff. Like that's good for the body.
Yeah, exactly.
And about your course, like is it only like for women?
Yeah, I mean, so my target market, and I hate even saying that, it's just like my container is like of women and people that they can connect with and come, and we have that like inner feminine circle. So it appeals mostly to women. Yes, I do have one-on-one clients that are men, but my course is tailored for women. Yes.
Oh, that's cool. It's
Yeah.
like you got to niche down sometimes. Like I like when I started podcasting, like it was a variety. Like anyone would just come. Like, but it was like great people. Like, but it's like different backgrounds. Like I didn't have a niche or nothing or a
Yeah.
target audience.
Yeah. I mean, it's just my mission in life is to create containers and community and connection for people. And so like attracts like. And so when women that I work with are struggling with IBS and struggling with anxiety and struggling with body image issues, they want a place where they can go and feel safe. And so that's what my mission is to create with them.
How do you help them with anxiety?
Yeah, so because of the gut-brain connection, so dopamine, norepinephrine, GABA, serotonin, happy hormones, things that calm us down, things that excite us, are all housed in our gut lining. So based off of the foods that we eat, the way that we interact with the world, that kind of stuff, anxiety is actually a symptom. It's not the root cause. So think of like when you get cut on your hand, right? Like it swells up, it's inflamed, you put a Band-Aid on it, you take whatever you need to take so that it heals. A lot of us don't understand that anxiety and depression, that's our brain, right? That's like a bleeding wound in our brain. And so when you can actually address it from a nutritional standpoint, you can get off the medications and you can actually gain back control over your emotions, so that you can actually feel more embodied in your life's mission and where you're headed.
Like a chemical imbalance in the brain.
Yeah, so it's not actually, that is actually not science around chemical imbalances. It's just triggered responses. Yes, there are certain things, life events, traumas, all that kind of stuff, chemicals, but at the root, I don't even know, but majority of anxiety and depression is actually rooted in inflammation, and inflammation can be decreased through nutrition and lifestyle practices.
And the connection with the emotional and the physical as well.
Exactly.
Like how we was raised, like it might lead up to depression or something, or just like anything could happen.
Exactly. And it gets to the point of when we start to take control to our responses to the world. So like me, when I was 13, I was diagnosed with depression, but that's because I wasn't nourishing myself well. That's because I lived in a home environment that wasn't that great. It's because I was a highly emotional kid that didn't have the communication style that I do now, where I can express my needs, wants, and desires. But growing up, that's kind of trapped inside of you. So as you grow, you can either be trapped by this label of, oh, I have anxiety, oh, I have depression, and demonizing it and keeping it in the shadows, or you can figure out different methods of how it actually works from a biological and physiological standpoint, and you can start to take control of it.
Wow, that's amazing. Like not just masking it.
Exactly.
And the gut brain connection, like how does that work? The gut, like the stomach and the brain just like staying in tune?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know, maybe you've heard of the gut is called our second brain or not.
Yeah, I heard of that.
Yeah, so there's two reasons because of that. So one, like I said earlier, dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, GABA, 30 different neurotransmitters, same amount as in our brain, is housed in our gut lining. Granted, they don't cross the blood-brain barrier. You have to eat certain foods, you have to have different chemicals in your body to help that. But if 90% of your serotonin is housed in your gut, why are you chasing something, taking a chemical for your brain? That doesn't make much sense. You should be focusing on your nutrition so that you could balance that out. So that's one. Second reason is because it runs entirely on its own through the enteric nervous system. There's this thing that goes from your brain to your gut called the vagus nerve, and it gives off these action potentials, and you don't have to tell it to work, right? Like you don't have to tell your heart to beat, your lungs to breathe, your food to digest, any of that kind of stuff. It does it all entirely on its own. So it functions entirely on its own, which is why we call it the second brain, because your brain doesn't have to tell it to do any of that.
Amazing. You have any good foods like that you recommend?
Yeah, so I mean, for always eating a wide variety of food is king here. You always want to be focusing on quality protein sources, healthy sources of fat, quality vegetables, like a wide range, very diverse. You want to aim for 4 colors on your plate. You want to aim for eating different foods each week. Like a lot of us get stuck into that same routine. Like we have the same salad, the same dinner, the same Every single thing. Like we do the same damn thing every day. And so
Yeah.
when you can actually spice that up a bit, your microbiome thrives and you want to make sure you're getting diversity within that. My go-to foods are always making sure I'm getting, and not like the sexy foods like oysters and like liver, and making sure you're getting starchy vegetables like pumpkin and potatoes, making sure you're getting well cooked vegetables like spinach or zucchini or squash or carrots, making sure you're getting those kind of foods constantly in your diet, and then adding things like avocado, olive oil, all that kind of stuff.
Wow, I'm going shopping next month.
Well, I do. I mean, I have if you go to healingtohappy.com/beat the bloat, I have a grocery list you can download if you want.
Okay, I'm gonna get that. That's awesome. Good tips.
Yeah, of course, of course. It's just simplifying it, right? Like I think we overcomplicate this whole health thing nowadays. So when we can make it simple, make it something we actually enjoy sticking with, that's where we actually find consistent and sustainable change.
Do you have like an education background in nutrition?
Yeah. So my background is psychology and communications, foreground is nutrition consulting, and then I'm a digestive health specialist.
Wow, that's amazing. So like, I'm out of questions, but like, what else you want to share?
No, that was kind of it. Is just bringing to light that kind of area, that arena, that health and nutrition is what sets us free, right? It's what welcomes us home. It's how we can amplify our surroundings, the people that we are for the people that are around us. It's really where like we're responsible. And I think so often we're giving our power away to diets, or we're saying we're born with this, or we're saying I can't do this and I can't do that. And it's like, no, like you get to respond and you get to choose. And so my job is to just kind of educate and inspire people to think a little bit differently about how we're using health and wellness and really move forward from there.
I'm definitely check out that grocery list.
Yeah. So thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Any links you want to share?
Yeah, so like I said, you can head over to healingtohappy.com/beat the bloat. That's where you get the grocery list. And then on Instagram is where I'm most active. It's Laura Martin _H2H. And everything else, like if you just come through my Instagram, that's where everything is. You can just go through the highlights, go through my stories, go through the links. Everything is there. So come hang out. I'm always in my DMs.
Yeah. What about your course?
Yeah, my course, you can go to healingtohappy.com/gut recharge. Again, everything is explained. I don't like to give a lot of links because there's just so many different avenues for people to go to. So it's like head to Instagram, you go into the link on my bio, it has everything written there. So it's step by step. It's like, this is step 1, this is step 2, this is step 3, and it gives you the step-by-step process.
And you can mention your Instagram handle again.
Yeah, so Laura Martin _H2H.
Thank you.
Number 2.
Thank you. I'm glad we had this conversation about like health and nutrition. Like
me too. Thanks so much for having me on, and have a good rest of your day.
You too, man. Thank you, Laura.
Yeah, have a good one.